let's see. Let's go a bit deeper into minutes. So we learned once upon a time what happens if I have leftovers on the table at the end of my meal on Shabbat. Not like edible leftovers that are perfectly edible, but I'm talking about the bones, the peels, the inedible things. Yes, thank you. Says the Taz. So the Taz says it's the same thing. I can take a skewer and I could get out those. I could pull out my fruit from the Muktze thing. Same time, I can take a knife and push aside the peels off the table, right? Because here too, what I'm interested in is clearing the table. I'm not interested in the peels. So the nutshells. So whatever it is that's Muktze that remains at the end of the meal. Says the Mishnah Berurah, explains this. Why is it called דבר מותר? Because I need the space. So now here's the great irony. The Pri Megadim says, sorry? You can't pick it up with your fingers because it why? Yeah, crumbs. If you're talking about breadcrumbs, you can eat the breadcrumbs. Maybe you're too British for that, but you can. But the nut shell, yes, the shells you shouldn't be carrying. What? Something, yeah, you should use something to push them aside. So the Taz says, when I say again, I want to explain that because the progression is going to be the interesting thing. The interesting aspect is the sugya. We started from saying, I need to protect the meat. That's also. But if I need the fruit, then I can do tutur netzad. I'm interested in the cheftza of the mutter thing, right? Taz says, what about if I need the space? So I jumped again before and said if I want the meat away because I need the Taz. But the Taz says if I need the space, that's also the var mutar because the surface of the table is the var mutar.
Why do you need it from the side? You need it from the
right, exactly.
So why do you need it to use utensils?
Because again, don't confuse. If we were talking about kli shel achtorei isur, you'd be allowed to just pick it up and put it somewhere else. But we're talking about Muktze, not kli shel achtorei isur.
No, fine. Okay. We said,
and therefore,
it's not regular. I was here. You said the alarm clock goes.
The alarm clock is a kli shel achtorei isur. It's not Muktze. The alarm clock is a kli shel achtorei isur. It's not Muktze.
But I can move it because it's my call.
Right, because it's a kli shel achtorei isur. Kli shel achtorei isur, I could carry with Muktze money that's Muktze. I can't carry. I need to carry matzad, also nutshells. No, something that's not food and not a kli, that I need to carry. That if I want to get rid of it, I have to do through natzad. So the Taz says, when I say the val mutar, it's not only the fruit that I'm interested in getting to, it's also the surface of the table I'm interested in getting to. So says the Pri Megadim, wait, but what when it came to kli shel achtorei isur, where were the more lenient? So before it's also mekomo. They were more lenient before. They said if you have an active use for it, then there's more room to be made. Says the Pri Megadim, Mimela here too. Say the Pri Megadim. So the whole issue with the meat, why was I not to carry the meat? Because I didn't want the body. I want the body to not get harmed. That's Michamal Atzel. But if I actually have a use for the Devar Asur, then I should be allowed to carry. Then I should be allowed to carry. Why?
If you can use it,
No. If I have a stone, let's say I have a stone that I want. I have a door that I want. I need a doorstop. I have a Muktze rock. I didn't think of this in advance before Shabbat. So I come to shul and I see that my good old doorstop is not there. And I can keep the door open. It's already Shabbos. So I go out and I find a rock. I'm allowed to metatil the rock min hatzad to bring it to be my doorstop. So the Pri Megadim, yes.
What is he saying?
Pri Megadim says, if you could matir tiltul min hatzad l'tzorch mekomo, so kal v'chomer you could matir l'tzorch gufo. So if I want to use the Muktze on Shabbos, I want to use the Muktze as a doorstop. Am I allowed to do that? But I just want to show the progression, because we started from saying you're allowed to move it for the thing that's mutar. They say the thing that's mutar is not only the fruit, it's also the surface of the table. So this brings Gadim, wait, but the surface of the table, that's Soch Mekomo, and when it came to Kli Shachar Yisur, we were more Mekel when it came to Tzol Gufot than Tzol Mekomo. So here too, we should make it more for Tzol Gufot than Tzol Mekomo. Meaning we kind of flipped the Gemara on its head, the Tosfot on its head, right? Because Tosfot started from saying you're allowed to carry Minatzad for the mutter thing. And it became you're allowed to carry Matzad for the Usr thing. Because of the Kal V'chomer. Right? So the logic works, it just kind of turned the whole sugya on its head. Therefore, the Shulchan Aruch Harav disagreed exactly for that reason. See Shulchan Aruch Harav at the bottom of the page. To do מהצד שהיה על ידי דבר אחר שבידיו וניתר כשנתת לו צור מקומו, ולא כשצריך להשתמש בגוף המוקצה. So he disagrees and says, no. צורך מקומו, because the makom, you're misunderstanding the terms, Mr. Pri Megadim. You're saying, I'm carrying the Muktze for its space, I'm carrying the Muktze for its use. I'm saying that's not the pshat. The pshat is, I'm carrying the Muktze not for its space. The space, the surface of the table, that's the mutter thing that I want to get to. Just like I want to get to the fruit, I want to get to the surface of the table, or to my bed, or whatever it is. But when I carry the pillow with the money on it, and I throw the
about dispersion. It's dispersion.
Exactly. It's all about dispersion, right? I'm getting rid of the usr thing in order to get to the mutter thing. And what is the mutter thing? So what confused you, Mr. Pri Megadim, it says not me. Yeah, very much right. Pri Megadim to me, right? Shlita. What confused you, says the Shulchan Aruch, is that we started using the words tzorach gufo, tzorach mekomo. But the point isn't tzorach mekomo. The point is, what am I trying to use? I'm trying to use the bed. Don't think of it as the space. Think of it as the table, the bed, whatever I'm trying to get to. And that has nothing to do with the definition of tzorach gufo, tzorach mekomo when it came to, as it applied to Kli Shachar Yisur. That's the first thing. The second point is, what is tiltul min hatzad? See in the next page, on page 4. So he does agree that you're allowed to do tiltul min hatzad in order to clear the surface of the table. But he doesn't agree that you can use your knife as a hockey stick to knock it off. Why not? Meaning, you're allowed to take your tablecloth and shake it out. Because here, the mutar and the usr things are already together. But to take a knife and to create the relationship between the mutter and the asr thing, that there's no header. There's no basis for that. So this whole idea that the Taz said, the whole idea that the Taz said about using your knife, using your utensils to knock things away, that he says there's no basis for that. So now it's a bit surprising because we did see taking the food and pulling the mutter thing, right? I'm allowed to take the skewer and skewer, is that the right word? And skewer the fruit and pull them out, right? But don't confuse that, because that's not creating a new situation. What I have is I have fruit that has hay over it or soil over it, right? So the mutter and the asr things are already connected, and the question is, how do I reach the mutter thing? Here, what I'm doing is I'm taking the knife and I'm knocking the Isser away. The knife had nothing to do with the Isser until now. Now, The other way of looking at this, I'm just pointing out.
Wait, now you just confused what's the development tower. A second ago,
Oh, was
you
it
said, first
about,
time you
yeah,
explained
yeah,
this,
yeah, yeah.
you said that the table part is the development tower.
Right.
Now you just turned it into
I was,
an A.
yeah, fair. I was about to, good, very good, very good. And let's say just that, Lichora, this would go against the previous definition of the Shulchan Aruch Rav. Shulchan Aruch Rav, his previous point was, I'm trying to get to the table. So I already have the table and the nuts, that interplay. And how do I get rid of the nut shells, right? And I already have the table and the shells. And therefore I need to get rid of the shells in order to get to the table. It's not tzorach mekumo, it's the table, right? Here he's saying, no, you're introducing something new that wasn't relevant before. But in the Gemara, I was also allowed to introduce something new, right? I agree. I don't have a good answer, but I think the two points kind of, right? When we put them together, I think that does create some kind of confusion. I think it does that. Where Shulchan Aruch Harav said that there needs to be some kind of interplay between the Isser and the Heter. The Chazon Ish, we're kind of out of time, so I'm just going to say about what the Chazon Ish says is this. He says all the other cases, what they all had in common is that I'm moving the mutter thing together with an asr thing. Not I'm moving it by use of, but I'm moving both simultaneously. And there's I pull the fruit, I'm moving the hay. I pull the radish, I'm moving the soil. I'm moving the right.
That sounds more like the Shulchan Aruch.
Says the Chazon Ish, but here all you're doing is you're only moving the shells. It's the only thing you're moving. That there's no heter. All to them that is always moving something mutter and asr at the same time. Now, the truth is that this is very surprising. Why? Because what happened to the mit? So it seems that the Chazon Ish means, I'll tell you what I understand. I understand right, because the mit, I'm only moving the mit, I'm not moving anything else. I think the Chazon Ish says like this. We say letzor davar mutal, right? You're allowed to move it for tzor davar mutal. He says, forget all these tzor before, tzor mekomah. You're asking the wrong question. You're allowed to move davar ha'asur mehatzad if you're moving it for an item that's mutar, that you're moving then that's mutar. I need to move the mutar item, and that causes the movement of an Isra item, that's fine. That's what tzorech here doesn't mean what is my goal. Tzorech means what is causing the movement.
Because it's dispersible. Because I think dispersible something just ends up,
Right. So I think that the
Way.
Chazon Ish seems to be less focused on that. I can pick up my pillow with the money because I need the pillow.
you can
So I'm
shake it into a basket.
right. So I'm carrying the whole thing of the pillow and the money, right? As opposed to taking the knife and the only purpose is to move the Isser that you can't do.
That
That's
sounds very similar to the Shulchan Aruch.
And then maybe also
Steak.
the human type is
Rowan.